So I wrote a text about my internalized lesbophobia a while ago, and I kinda wanted to read it up for a video. I've been thinking, is it possible that my transition caused my internalized lesbophobia? Because I think so, actually. It hit me a couple of days ago. As a trans man in my past, I hated being female, and I hated it so much that it caused me to also hate my attraction to other females. The further I transitioned and the more I passed as male, the more it allowed me to take distance from my own femaleness, but transitioning could never completely erase it. I think that caused a frustration within me that took new monstrous forms over time. Because I was never particularly masculine or a stereotypical tomboy, I failed to live up to the manly social role which was expected of me as a trans man. It trapped me in a corner of being torn between my dysphoria and my femininity. Of course I could have taken on a feminine role in a straight relationship with a more masculine and assertive woman, a butch, if you will, but the mere thought of that made my dysphoria spiral out of control. It was unthinkable. Because you see, I couldn't date other feminine women who expected of me to take on the masculine role, which they all did. Because that made me incredibly uncomfortable, even so to the point it made me question if I really was into women. I was left with the only other option, to date men. I thought if I dated men, at least I'd be socially accepted as a feminine gay man next to a masculine man, and that would work well enough for my dysphoria. But inside, I cursed at it all because it didn't feel right. It chafed and pained me no matter which way I turned. My ruthless dysphoria made me sacrifice so much of myself, but it was never enough. Which is a huge reason why I now don't try to be woman enough in my detransition. Because I need to be true to myself now and not let myself get run over by sexist stereotypes. Was my transition ever really about being true to myself as I thought? No, at its core it was about escaping myself. And the harsh truth is that it made my dysphoria worse, in the sense that it made my hatred of being female increase at an alarming rate the more masculinized I became. It fed my delusion that I could become something that I was not. Which is why I think it might have been the cause of my internalized lesbophobia. Because me being a femme lesbian clashed with it on more levels than just which sex I'm attracted to. I hated my femininity, not my affinity for dresses, makeup and long hair, but my natural inclination to being soft, sweet, emotional support, dreamy, nurturing. Those aspects I could never run away from, erase, or replace for masculine traits. I could dress up in a suit and shave my beard out. I could drink beer, laugh loud with a deep voice, and sit with my legs spread, although it took some practice. But I could never erase my femme spirit, my literal personality. My femme spirit that yearned and screamed for a woman with a butch spirit, to have by my side and shower with love and affection. It made mockery out of my dysphoria, both my femininity and my love for masculine women, as well as my lack of attraction to men of any taste and creed. Basically, being a straight man didn't exactly work out for me. And of course, being a gay man totally didn't. It became an impossible lose-lose situation, and I think my transitioning and further masculinizing very much exacerbated that trap I had entangled myself in. Sure, my traumas were still the reason why I thought I felt an attraction to men that wasn't there, but I think my transition was what caused me to hate my homosexuality. Which is why this is still relevant now is because I still struggle with not hating it. I could make an endlessly long list of reasons why I hate it, but I don't want to because that makes me sad, and I want to focus on the reasons why I love it instead. I want to focus on loving my girlfriend and how amazing she makes me feel, not the dark thoughts, guilt and shame that hit me when I'm alone at night. Much of my internalized lesbophobia is me struggling to make peace with that I really am attracted to other women, and that I have no attraction to men, and that I also struggle with feeling like a traitor to my former community for calling my exclusive attraction to bio-females, which excludes trans women but includes trans men, lesbian, and what that says about my character. Because I used to feel a very strong sense of belonging to the trans community for a decade, that now ripping its shackles as I detransition has made me feel more disoriented and lost than freed. Like I wasn't ready to stand on my own feet, as I still beg for validation from my former community which as a whole doesn't respect me anymore, and discovering my sexual orientation. It felt like the last nail in the coffin, hammered in like an utter betrayal coming from my own heart, when I discovered the truth of how much biological sex actually matters. It's hard to embrace my sexuality when I'm being told from left, right and center that I'm wrong for it, or should at least keep it to myself to not offend others. It's offensive to myself even. It betrayed me and everything I used to believe. Is then my self-hatred for being a lesbian because I'm not the right kind of lesbian justified? If so, then who the fuck can blame me for struggling with so much shame? This is not directed at anyone specific, and I doubt anyone gives a flying fuck about who or what I'm into, but in general this is how I feel. Mostly on a subconscious level, and not something I actively go around thinking about. It's been my main reason for why I ultimately teamed up with radical feminists, because it's the only community that openly welcomes trans women and don't vilify exclusively homosexual women, what's simply facts. Then I am still torn between the radfem and trans communities, as they are indeed sworn mortal enemies.